How's it going, everybody? We are back from Buck and Stock, and once again, we took a vintage, well, fairly vintage. This thing's 20 years old. Another vintage diesel truck. That one's 30 years old, and we drove that last year. This year, we took this truck. I always get a lot of comments on how far we drove and the iron we choose because, well, these things are ancient now. You know, they still sell the 6.7. Actually, I think this year is the last year for the 6.7, or last year was. But I mean, this thing's getting pretty old now. That's an absolute dinosaur. And people always ask me, like, you know, why do you do that? Or and it's like, friends, I could take a newer vehicle, but what fun is that? For me, it's about the adventure of the trip. And friends, a modern diesel like this would be $1,500 a month payments up here in Canada or more for 7 or 8 years. No, thank you, sir. I would rather buy something at auction, stroke a check, and deal with the repercussions after and throw parts at it until it's perfect. That's just me. Anyhow, let's get to the video. How my trip to Buck and Stock went, and how does it compare to this old truck, my 96 F250? Was this an upgrade from that? Okay, 96 F250 with a 7.3 power stroke and a 5-speed ZF5 transmission. That's a manual. That truck has 355 gears. 200,000 miles on this truck. My upgrade, or was it, is a 07 3500 Ram Mega Cab with a 6.5-foot bed with a 6.7 Cummins and a 6-speed automatic. Was it an upgrade, or am I kind of having buyer's remorse now? I bought this truck shortly after Buck and Stock last year. I got back from the trip in this and thought, you know, it would be cool to have a more highway capable machine, and having a bigger cab would be an absolute bonus. The extended cab on this rig, okay, if you look at the extended cab on these old Fords, you Ford guys know, they're very, very short, okay? Huge improvement for this era, but I mean, there's no room. You could not sit a grown person back there. And in a car seat, my 4-year-old, her feet sit on the middle of console. I literally have to put her in the middle, or she doesn't fit, okay? We wouldn't be able to put her car seat behind either of these seats without putting them way forward. So, and my wife's like 5'6", friends. And she probably couldn't even sit in that seat. So just something to know. If you're going to buy one of these trucks and you have a family, you may not be happy with it. Now, they did make a crew cab in this truck, and that'd be great for a family hauler. Now, getting back to this thing here, 96 F250's got about 200,000 miles. I'm the second owner of this truck. This truck was loved and cared for by the original owner, and I was lucky enough to buy it. We took this on the journey last year. Last year we did like 1,800 miles total, 1,900. I think it was 1,800 miles, friends. This truck did it with bells on. I popped the hood once to check the oil because this truck does leak a little bit of oil. And that was it. I never looked at it again. The only time I popped the hood is to hook up the leads for my slip tank. When we got back, I checked my fuel mileage, and this truck was getting 21 miles per gallon at 70 to 75 miles an hour. Pretty impressive. And then when we got back, I thought, well, that's pretty amazing. A truck this old going that fast can get that kind of fuel mileage. But again, the cab left something to be desired due to the size. And other than that, though, friends, these old F-Series trucks, you know, up to 99 is when they went Super Duty. They are super comfortable, super reliable, easy to work on. The only drawback to this is noise. You can't have a conversation or listen to the radio when you're ripping down the freeway with this thing. And this truck does have a muffler on it. It has a stock muffler, and it's still louder than I can stand. Cool, and it sounds good, but it's a little rough. Okay, so I got back from Buck and Stock last year, and I thought maybe I should upgrade. So I upgraded with this 2007 3500 Ram Mega Cab with the 6.5-foot bed. 4-wheel drive. 6.7 Cummins with a 6-speed. This is a 373 geared truck. It's got a 6-inch lift, which is what it is. Not my favorite part of the truck, but so we decided to take this year. Now, before I get into how well it did, let's remember, I bought this thing at auction. Okay, I bought it at auction. Dead on arrival. It did not run. It had wiring problems out the yin-yang. It had a lot of issues, okay? So, if you're new here, I built this truck over the last year on the channel, okay? So, friends, again, in the last video, I said this thing was stuck in limp mode. It had no power. Tons of issues. So, what I did was, I made a new positive cable right here, okay? I got a new terminal end, and I made this line right here, okay? I also cleaned up this one. You can see there's a playlist. I've had the dash out. Again, when you're doing a dash, just slowly move things back, and if it stops, see what's connected. And there you guys go. There's the dash pulled. I missed one plug right here, and it's connected. This is the shift indicator. The sensor, oh, what's that? Nice. A Hulls package that fell in there 20 years ago. To replace blend doors, I've wired the rear doors because those were broken and nothing worked. The locks didn't work. The motor, I had the top of the motor off 2 weeks ago to fix oil leaks. Okay guys, 10 mil bolts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The one at the very back is going to be a real treat. And then we'll see what we can see. We're going to know right away if it's leaking. I'll be able to tell. You'll be able to see oil under there. And there's not any oil sitting on top here, so this should be pretty clean. I rebuilt the front diff because it was leaking. I've put new hubs, new rotors and pads all the way around. Okay, I got a brand new hub assembly here. I've rebuilt the rear wheel bearings. I sprayed inside this with brake cleaner. And okay, here's our new bearing. Right here. Okay, and that goes like that. Rear drive shaft is rebuilt. Front drive shaft was replaced. New muffler, tailpipe, and center section of the exhaust. I fixed these steps. I've done a lot of work to this truck, so it's not like I just bought this at the auction and drove it that far. Brand new tires, 35 by I think 11 and a quarter. Take a sledge, or this is a maul. It's coming off. Try not to hit your rim, because if you do, that's the end of it. These are 13-inch wide tires. They're heavy duty. Okay. Far into there. I have it wrapped with tape so it doesn't scar the wheel. So I got a new spare under there. I rewired the rear speed sensor so that the cruise works. I rebuilt the AC system. Okay, friends, I've put $3,000 to $4,000 worth of parts into this, not including labor, and plus what I bought at the auction. But friends, the whole deal is with me, I could buy a new truck, but I don't want to. I don't want to make payments. I'd rather buy once, cry once, buy the truck at auction, bring it home, and play with it over a month or two and get it running. Well, that's what I did. And maybe I'm good, maybe I'm lucky. Sometimes I wonder which it is. I think I'm just lucky a lot of the time. But anyways, friends, we replaced the headlights. Now the question is, how did this thing do on our road trip? Well, we did 2,500 miles this time, or just under 4,000 kilometers. At 80 to 85 mile an hour. The old truck was doing 70 to 75 mile an hour, so we made more time quicker. My complaints with this truck, it is a 1-ton. It rides hard, and because it's lifted, it probably doesn't help with how it rides. This truck does have Fox shocks on it, but it still rides horribly. Pluses, it's super quiet. The cab is super quiet for what it is, a 20-year-old diesel. You can hear turbo whistle and a little bit of motor and a little bit of exhaust, but it's pleasant. It's not, you're not yelling at your passenger like you are in the old 7.3. The 7.3, you're raising your voice. How did our oil leak do, friends? Well, I was pleasantly surprised the first night I parked in a brand new driveway and not a drop in the morning, nothing. This thing doesn't leak oil anymore, not a drop. So that valve cover lower rocker box repair I did was 100% the ticket. No coolant lossage. My AC is still blowing cold. We were at the lake yesterday and it was super hot. No issues there. Fuel mileage, 20 to 21 miles per gallon, the same as my other truck gets. Where this thing trumps the other truck is fuel capacity. I'm getting an extra, 200 to 300 kilometers out of a tank, out of this easily, which is about another 120 to 160 miles. Literally, I could drive from here to Indiana and only fill the truck up once if I filled up when I left here. So with the slip tank, friends, I can go 2,100 miles without ever looking for fuel. So absolutely incredible. One last thing, friends, the mega cab, almost everything fit in the cab and I had very little in the bed this time. That really helped. Way easier to pack when you're not strapping everything down. And also when you're sleeping overnight in a hotel, you're not worried that somebody's going to cut your padlocks and take all your stuff. So definitely amazing. Let's talk about breakdowns, friends. I did have some breakdowns. Number one, my driving there for 6 hours, we were in pouring rain. This windshield wiper, which is brand new, you can see it has an end here. This end popped off. Okay, so this was sliding and I was losing the blade. So when we stopped to get fuel in Fargo, I burnt a hole through here with a pin and used mechanics wire to hold it on. Problem solved. But that was our first breakdown and I am going to chalk that up as a breakdown. This truck, 0 breakdowns. I have never pulled over on the side of the road to fix anything on this truck. This truck has been absolutely stone dead reliable for I've had this truck for 4 years. I replaced my 96 6.5 turbo diesel, which was a reg cab. I replaced that with this. Okay, friends, breakdown number 2. Here's a quick video of where we stopped for the night. We drove to Madison, Wisconsin after the show, which is about 6 hours. We stopped for dinner. I wanted Chicago deep dish pizza, so we stopped for dinner in Chicago. We made it to Madison. Here it is. And everybody, we actually got a hotel room last night and we stopped in Madison, Wisconsin. We did about 400 miles and it was getting late and I was tired, and just thank you everybody for making the event what it is. You people that come and the volunteers and the bars and everybody who made the event awesome. In this segment, let's do Tin Man's Pro Traveling Tips. People say, how did you guys do that many miles in one day? 1,100 miles. Well, let's do a little pro tippery. It's actually not that difficult if you're a driver, but number one, you need a vehicle that's capable of it, something that you can drive that far. Well, this rig will do 700 plus miles on a tank of fuel, so you really don't have to stop. I always bring a wiper, a squeegee with extra wiper fluid. That way you can pull over, clean your windshield. A slip tank, friends, is an absolute marvel if you're traveling. That way all I have to do is fill this up once and stop where I want to. But really, friends, the top 2 things you need to travel long periods are bum wipes from your kid. I've used these more times on this trip. Good for freshening up the hands, cleaning chainsaws, wiping down spills. But the number one thing, friends, that you need is a Team Grace Built Tough decal. You put that on, you will remember that you're capable of amazing things. Morning, Grace. Over and out. So friends, when we first pulled into our hotel, this was hanging down. The only thing that was holding it on was this, which keeps my my mud flap off of my tire. But this was holding it on, and the front bolt here. We just about lost the fender flare. The roads in Chicago are brutal, and we're doing 80 miles an hour, and it's just bang, bang, bang a lot of the times. The bolts came out of this and broke it off. I didn't have any bolts, but you know what I had? Zip ties and bias plies. So I zip tied this all back together, and I'll probably just leave it like that. She's, I mean, she's not perfect. I think I'm missing a bolt here now that I look at it. And this is loose, see? This is one of those weird... Okay, I'm going to have to deal with that because that's going to come off. But so that was a breakdown, friends. It was 1 o'clock in the morning, and I had a flashlight. And there was laying underneath here, zip tying that down. The other major breakdown we had is... There's something missing here. There used to be an airbag here, friends. The top bolts that go through the frame here were super rusty. I've never been able to pull them out, and I don't have a torch to cut them out. So I just been leaving them because it's like they've been fine. Well, I broke the bolts off that mount in Chicago, and that thing spun forward, and it was actually hitting my shock. I'm glad I didn't burn a hole through the shock. But that was a problem. I did not fix it because I didn't think it was going to be an easy repair. Every time we'd stop, I'd just go shook and stick it back in there. And there was one rusty bolt sticking up that would hold it on the frame. When I got home, friends, I took the 2 mounting bolts off the bottom, cut the line, and it literally just fell off. So that was an issue. I have a broken leaf on this side, so this side tends to hop. You can see that the overloads touch a lot versus this side. This side's got like a fist space, and look, they've never touched. In fact, there's no rubber on here anymore, and it doesn't need it because they literally never touch. So, I'm gonna definitely, I have the other leaf for the other side. That's the next thing I'm gonna do to this truck is I'm gonna replace the other side leaf. But that was a breakdown. And then lastly, friends, when we stopped at the hotel, I was leaking fuel here. Now, my slip tank was empty. I planned to fill it up the next day. We left the show. I filled up my fuel tank at the Barths the first day we were there. Well, that was enough fuel that I could drive all the way back to Madison, plus the driving we did that week. So, we weren't even looking for fuel yet. We figured we were going to fuel up in Madison. Well, I was dripping fuel. I thought my slip tank was leaking, but actually my hose was dripping the whole time, and if I would have checked it, my hose was so loose that I could literally hand tighten it. So I brought 2 channel locks and squeezed it back together, and that was the end of that leak. So other than that, friends, this thing's perfect. No issues. And I'm really glad I bought this truck. I would take that again in a heartbeat. That's more of an adventure, but I really trust this truck. So the adventure is all in your mind. This truck now, I just rolled over 360,000 kilometers, or that's 230,000 and change miles. So again, friends, the idea for me is that I don't want to buy a new truck. I don't want to make payments on a truck. New trucks are way too expensive. And the capability of this truck versus what I'm into it for. Basically, friends, I'm into this for $6,000 to $7,000 less than retail on it right now, and it's paid for. Definitely, the capabilities of this truck, friends, I would put this up against any modern diesel. The modern trucks have a 6.7 Cummins in them too. So, super happy with this thing. And it doesn't leak a drop now. I checked the oil, friends. It was this much overflow when we left, and it's that much overfull when we got back. So, not to ramble on, friends, but these old trucks, buy one, do the maintenance, go over it so you know what you got. Leave nothing to chance, friends. But to me, you're better off to buy a high mile truck with no blow by like this. Spend a couple grand on running gear, put new bearings and put new wheel bearings and redo your drive shafts, and then drive it, and it'll probably be more reliable than a new truck. Without all that DEF fluid and that kind of stuff, which this truck's too old to have DEF fluid. This is really too old. There's not much to go wrong with them. These Cummins motors are meant to go for 1,000,000 miles. And if you do your maintenance, they should last you a long, long time. Anyhow, friends, thanks for watching. Take her easy. I wouldn't pick either truck. They're both awesome. And I'm happy to have them both. And they'll both be staying here for a while. Don't tell my wife. Thanks for watching. Take her easy. In a couple days, I bought a bunch of saws a couple saws at Buck and Stock. I always want to say Bunyan, and we'll go over them. I also brought a saw home for Sizemore. We'll be doing that. And remember, friends, the next event is Paul Bunyan, first weekend in October. So we're a couple, 3 months away, and we'll be there. Anyhow, thanks for watching. Take her easy. Later.